top, you know, even 6 teams, they've also had their struggles and fallen to teams that are in like the 9 through 16 range. So we're gonna have to see what squad comes out today out of Antimatter Gaming. Are they going to step up to the challenge, or are they going home?
You never like to see somebody die straight off the bat when we open up a game of Countdown. It means that you're either just pissing about in the window, or unfortunately you've been caught off guard by multiple enemies. First initial frags go the way of Lux Gaming, but it's not about the frags. It's about the objective. This is CTF 5 flag. Nades come down for support. Straight6 asking for help. He gets it for now and he'll be able to push on with these rockets. Having this could be decent. Trident does drop. Flag will be moving. Easiest way and easiest route to do it, Dave, usually through S2.
Yep, great route, but also a risky-ish play. When you think about Straight6 having rockets, you almost want to consider that he has to just stay alive, get slays when necessary. So that's that right exact balance that Straight6 was able to find. And that's a really delicate balance to find, because there's so many times where players will sometimes run with rockets, lose rockets, set themselves up for a counter cap, and that's just disastrous. So Straight6 seemingly doing the correct play despite him and all his teammates falling now.
I am surprised no one managed to get a hold on that one. This will be a bit of a desperation pull. Rob comes in, the trade outs there, they can continue the push. Or should I say the pull, because that's the way it's going right now.
There's great pull, yeah. Because they had so many kills on the Lux side, so Antimatter just needs to slow this down and get slays and get some control. I like this play from Its Name. In fact, I would love to see Its Name to go all the way over towards S2 and get a secondary angle. That would have potentially helped stop that flag pull from happening. Could have helped gotten a secondary angle over on Garage and got them out of that pinning position that they had.
I saw his name on the roster sheet, his name, and I thought it was a placeholder at first. It's actually his name is his name.
Wow, what a last second stop.
What the hell was that?
Rob the Clutch Turtle getting that last second kill. That's not going to get the flag recovery, but it's going to buy his team that precious needed time to try to bring this back to a neutral game.
Triton didn't quite get the kills there. What he needed is he did roll that one in, but what a fantastic performance from Rob to be able to pull this one down. Now remember, in 5 flag, you can't cap it. When your opposing flag's out, you cannot put it in. You need to get the return on yours. Quickscope comes in, finds the visor. Down he goes, transfer across now, looking at the opposing side. With this sniper, I'd be expecting one of the teammates to take the flag and let him do this, but then again, that might be the better option. Because of this precarious situation, you can keep inside the window your sniper, your lead marksman, just to stay and stand guard. But the problem is, with a power weapon like this, in theory, you want to be putting it to good use, and he has limited spots and angles that he can see from inside the base.
Yeah, I'm also surprised that nobody had taken the flag from him, because you generally designate one player in your team to kind of be the flag protector. They need to give teammates a warning well in advance if somebody's getting nearby or are in threat of returning it. Their goal is mainly just staying in safe positions versus being that aggressor, like you said, Sims, the one that can be helping get that flag recovered. And they decided to do that with their sniper player, which is, I see it, benefits and downsides to it. A benefit being you can sit all the way back at your base, kind of safe distance away from all the further opponents, and still have an effect on helping get that flag recovery. But the bad side of it is if that person gets too tunnel visioned on the long game or a further distance, someone can slip on by, secure that one-on-one, and get that flag recovery.
With something like a rocket, I can understand that, why you would keep that on the flag, because it means that he can just drop it and instantly protect himself and defend himself. Fair play, but keeping a sniper, I suppose, like you said, that there's other things that we may not necessarily know about, and there's other options and viable to him, especially being able to just drop it and play a long man's game at range. Desperation attempt again, second time. It's a failure, but there is people there just to throw themselves at it, lob the bodies in, get the job done. Second player steps up. One steps out, Triton dies. Rather unfortunate, just misses that second shot as well as someone else is behind him, but they don't have teammate to give him the support that he needs. Nades down, guns up. Name's going to fall next, victim. Suspected just clearing out the base, and now the rest of his teammates can look onwards and get the hell out of it. You don't want to be held back. That player's going to land in the window. He preempted it. He hits him. He gets the kill. This is nice, and while all this has been going on, Dave, they've pulled another flag across.
Yep, that second flag pulled, second flag captured here for Lux over this last 90 seconds. They're starting to pick up some steam, get their game plan going, and you notice how these slays are just racking up. You notice how Antimatter is just trying one by one to get some of these flag recoveries, and Lux is punishing him at every step of the way.
Cam on the western front for now. Checking drop down, checking diamond, making sure no one's above them S2 or S3 even to try and make something happen. Another flagpole will continue onwards. They have the Slayers. I like this. Take the split route. Send your flag forward. Send the other person back to watch off the back of the spawn. More nades. Thank you very much. Grab, tag, job done. And there's as many minutes of 3 flags, around 3 minutes time. That's absolutely fantastic work here for Lux Gaming. They are not giving up any room to breathe whatsoever on the side of Antimatter. The pure amount of pressure, Dave.
Just every single way they go, they're just reaching so much pressure, like you said. Even once they got all the way to the computers and bringing that flag in, they just got shot in the back, and they had so many different angles. It looks like they're able to put that flag in, but at what cost? It cost 3 different lives, essentially, to get that flag in for Antimatter.
Love how you said at what cost. By throwing 3 players there and actually committing to the cause of getting the 1 flag in. Your 3 players down and everyone else on the opposing side of Lux can just get the flag and take a run with it.
One thing I seem to consistently notice here from Antimatter when they bring the flag back is they all clump up over in that computer side. They only have 1 angle to bring that flag in or to protect it from. So one thing I would love to see from Antimatter in the future, if this game continues on or they continue to stay at this roster, is to spread out a little bit more. Get the flag towards the computer and have someone go towards S2. Or already have someone take up a little bit more ground in the base over near garage side. Just take up a bit more real estate as you're bringing that flag back. You don't have to clump back and just completely contract and condense on one portion of the map.
Decent job here from Rob. His teammates there to give him some level of support if he actually wants to jump through and try and take down the kill. If not, that player will be forced back in his base with the snipe. Only 1 bullet left, but still, staying alive is important. Use the jetpack, looking for the player up on radio. Finds him, will go for the repeat. Sits himself and banks off the back. Goes for the no-scope, doesn't quite land it. That player's also flashing as well, so even grounds for either part. Neither of them want to fall here. What about you? But I'm not too big a fan of constantly rotating back to your own flag. I know it's all about staying alive, but for me it's also about pushing out and giving yourself breathing room.
I agree. When you rotate back to your flag, there are opportunities and times where it makes sense to, but for the most part you are essentially wasting time that you could be pushing out to the center of the map, pushing the opposing team's base and taking up more ground. I'm always a big proponent of pushing forward. I think I did that to too much of a detriment when I used to compete. Sometimes I'd push forward and not know when to step it back a little bit and come back towards the middle of the map to be with my teammates after we had taken some losses. So, yeah, I think some people can get different ends of the spectrum there, and it feels like some of these players here in Antimatter, or Rob specifically during that last engagement, may have been just around his base a little bit too much. But as we're critiquing them, Sims, it's a tie game. They were able to score 2 other caps as we're talking about how they had rotations we disagreed with. So who's actually wrong here?
Everything we've said may have just been complete crap. that was 2 flags back to back, so the double cap comes in. They do go down 3 players individually, and now this could be a problem. The last man is staying alive, but there's lots of defense here. There's another one in the tide. Does pull the flag out, so we'll stop it for now. But again,
that's 3 down for Lux.
Every single time, it's like it's always just on tenterhooks and a very, very uneven balance of whether or not you have the players to be able to capitalize on these situations and also defend your own flag at the same time from being retrieved.
But that was a great stop we saw from Antimatter. Many other times previously, we were seeing them just throw their lives at it 1 by 1 to try to get that flag stop and just giving up deaths and giving up control. Whereas this time, they did a solid job of stopping the flag cap, but also keeping control on the map. So we've seen both these teams oscillate back and forth about who's got control, who's playing smarter, who's making fewer mistakes. And Lux was doing stronger for a little bit, and now it looks like Antimatter has been continually impressing me over these last few minutes.
Flag taken.
Rockets instantly taken out of play in this component. Usual scenario where we just see these flags always being held off until the final moments of someone just lobbing the body. No one knows where that player is outside on the back ramp. He's still hiding. It's a Spectre, and he does have rockets at least gets the trade for now, so halts the potential run that may have come through. One player attempts to bring it inside to try and give his teammates some level of cover to make something happen off the back of it, but we do have one underway and we do have the potential final one. It comes in, it's on all kinds of damage. We've seen this moment before where they've been stopped in their tracks. Will it be available this time? The no-scopes come in. It could have been reality, but it's a double once again off the back of Rob. Gets the job done and he manages to save it.
I like that recov. I think if the game wasn't at 4 caps there, I would have preferred to see the counter run immediately and left that recovery towards one of his teammates. But, you know, I think when it comes down to last cap like that and you're uncertain, you don't have so much control on the map, you have to be safe. You can't make it in a situation where your team's going to lose the game because you got a little bit more greedy.
It's a much more scrappier game than what I expected. I thought this would be a bit of a beating for Antimatter, but they're giving as good as they get right now. Fair play to the lads. You can't discredit or take anything away from them. Drop down, checking with Sniper. No one's there. From Diamond to Connector. Back ramp also clear. Little Door will find one individual flashing, so that's an easy cleanup for him, and now he's in the back of the base. Dan's got Overwatch on the situation and can call this out to the rest of his teammates, and that's exactly what he's doing. But no one's answering the call of Gondor just yet. Up we go with a jetpack, but unfortunately, actually just hits the guy in the ass, is dropping down through the roof. That's a rather unfortunate set of circumstances. And everything that he may have been back building has just been completely thrown into the wind.
And AMG doing a great, or sorry, that was Triton doing a great job staying alive there during those engagements. And had he dropped that flag carrier, could have been much more comfortable running that towards S2 and running as fast as possible. Now what you're seeing from Suspector and the Lux squad are planning on Antimatter, just panicking a bit during this flag cap. So they're taking their time, they're slowing it down, getting slays, and it's paying off.
Well, there's multiple here who could take these down. There's 2 individual players that have fallen. They need one player just to grab this and throw it in. Someone says no across the map, but there's too many bodies. They're going to throw at this one unless they can get a pull now. This could be all she wrote. Grenade goes off, but it's absolutely not going to save them that time round. 5-3 will be the final scoreline of game number 1. Countdown CTF. Plenty of people just throwing themselves at it, to be fair, Dave. It was messy.
It was. It went so back and forth, and I think the series was and is going to be a lot closer than we both expected. You and I both called this 3-0. We said this Lux roster is a tier above from Antimatter, but that is not quite the case once these teams just start getting scrappy with each other. Once the speed of the game's been picking up, these teams have been going back and forth, and Antimatter's been holding their own.
Well, that takes us from CTF countdown, and I think now we'll be moving into, I believe, Slayer on the pit, which, to be fair, could be a pretty good game. It can be. I don't think the scrappy players and the scrappy level of players that we saw in that one will get you away with it on the pit, because you just get shut down instantly, and maybe even just capitalized by people camping you down, especially if you can get a hold of the snipers and the rockets, for example.
This one naturally has to slow down quite a bit more in general. I mean, there are going to be those fast-paced periods in the pit where someone slips on by and gets towards top turret of the opposing base, and you'll get in those scrappier periods, but pit always devolves down into each side holding their own for a bit until some action takes place, or they're going for the next sniper or rocket or custom. Well,
I can see the map just loading up in the back, so we'll get this one rocking and rolling in the next few seconds and underway. If you're Antimatter Gaming, you shouldn't be holding your head in your hands just yet. That was a pretty decent attempt. It was messy, but it was still an attempt regardless of which way you look at it. They got 3 on the response, but then again, other teams can have a response on such a small close combat map. But needless to say, keep your heads high as we go into this one. Team Slayer on the pit, first to 50, and when the clock runs down, whoever the most will be the victor. Sniper rifle spawning on the towers, rockets down mid on green box. We also have OS that will be falling underneath sword base. If you've played Halo 3, you understand the call outs, what I'm mentioning. Opposing towers here right now, sniper below each one. Other end of the map, you have something called long haul, where the snipers would, the rocket would spawn if you were playing something like Slayer or a normal casual game type, but that then moves to the middle area, where we would normally naturally see something like camo. But this is all matchmaking, this is all general old Halo 3 settings from standard casual gameplay. Mauler, needles, again, weapon call outs from old Halo 3 casual settings and combinations. I just like how it's still, everything just kind of transfers, even if it's not the same thing. Banana, for example, it's not, there's no yellow block there, but it still just kind of transfers across.
Yep, I think those names, similar to how names evolve in our language today. Like, a lot of people don't understand where a certain word comes from, and we call that. And so that's how it goes throughout this matchmaking. These, especially in the higher competitive scenes, the names carry over from game to game, even though weapons have changed locations or it doesn't resemble the same in Forge.
At which point did Walshy on Sank actually become Walshy?
Probably, I'm trying to remember what team we were landing against. It was like landing against like Legends, or there was a roster, yeah, I cannot remember which land, but I stopped dozens of flags there, and in a single land, they kept being like, check that spot that Walshy keeps hiding in, or whatever.
That's all it was.
Or, oh, sorry, I was thinking of the pit one. But yeah, on Sank, I think that one, I have no idea when that caught the name, but I know a lot of people wasted a lot of grenades on me trying to kill me there and not getting the kill.
I do love how there's quite a few of those little spots where you can just kind of, even ones in Halo 5 where we call them headshot, where you can just kind of put only a small amount of your body, but you can still get your gun through it, so you just hide the rest of your torso. And it's little nuances like that at high-level gameplay where you only learn from just years of playing it over and over again. You find these angles, you find these precarious spots where essentially you can just protect yourself, of a better word, and maybe even go on the offensive stance that you just stay alive throughout it and be a nuisance.
Yep, it's one of the ways you also learn is, you know, some of them you discover by yourself, other ones you see played against you, and things that generally frustrate you are also going to frustrate other players. So adding those to your repertoire as you're trying to become a better player is a very important skill to have. Recognizing like what parts you can implement into your own gameplay and abuse.
Four down. Certainly not out at the moment as we approach the 12-minute mark. Rockets up might be a little bit of a waste here, especially if one grenade hits him while he's all flashing up. 3 rockets, only 1 kill. Not the best ratio in the world with those. I've always said with the old new tube, we should be seeing at least 2 kills, if not all 4, making every single rocket count where possible. Back and forth tug of war. Did have about a 5-kill deficit on one side, but we have brought it back. Generally speaking, we always say it's just a weird little strange little fact. You get to about that 30 to 35 point mark, and then some teams just kind of run out of steam. And
yeah, it is odd how that's usually the point where teams take off.
Yeah.
You know, you can see games as close as possible, you know, until the 20 to 30 mark, and then at some point this team gets this 8 to 10 kill lead from some strong setup.
I wonder if there's like, if you did some sort of like mathematical test or some, I don't know, some research if it was to do with fatigue at a certain point in the game where you've just had enough and everything just starts to kind of crumble around you.
Yeah, potential fatigue, or maybe as we look at just how the timing works on the maps and that second set of power-ups and weapons come up, maybe that generally happens around like this 11-minute mark. Maybe it happens to be a new set of rockets and snipers, and the stronger team generally gets set up a little bit better or knows how to filter and grab those weapons through the chaotic situations.
Nice shot onto Rob, follows it up with a double as well. Pretty good. If that had been a triple, that had been bloody beautiful. There's still 1 stage and 1 green box as well, so he needs to be aware of that and calling this one out to the rest of his teammates. All 4 of them are down here for some reason together.
I think he needs to get back on turret at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a situation where once they got a couple of picks, there was a window of opportunity for his team to push across and to try to take over the blue base. But after that opportunity passed, after those players spawned and they didn't push any further, you need to get back and get that height advantage, give your team a bit more control, cover them from top training.
They lost quite a lot of players during that interaction, especially around green box, including their OS. It really probably wasn't worth it in the long term. The fact that you have the lead, you don't have to pressure these scenarios just yet. There's no point. Let the opposing team, let blue team do all the work here. Let them do the running, let them do the chasing. You can wait this one out. You're not pulling for an objective here. What's the point in just pushing?
That charged across.
There's no need.
Like, great point, Sims.
There's no need, is there? You can wait. You can literally wait this one out. Why are you going on the offensive? Why not set it up and stick together as a team? They're now they've brought it back to a 4-kill game by feeding them. Triple comes through and it's a 1-point game. Like, they've just fed them kills by pushing forward and not actually. Wow. All right, this is squeaky bum time now.
Tied the leader.
What a comeback.
Lost the lead.
But like you said, it all got started by Lux just trying to overly aggress and make that push. I don't know how that one happened. Did he actually shoot that, or did a grenade partially deflect it after he shot it? I do not know, but that was not a ideal rocket there from Rob the Turtle. But in short, this game has got tied up like how you said, Sims. They charged on over, they get a few kills, which opened an opportunity for Antimatter to push on over towards the Luck base, take a little bit of control, get a few more kills when they had their numbers advantage, and now they're ahead by 1 kill, which was a, what, 6-kill deficit prior to that?
All tied up at the big 4-0. 6 bullets in the sniper. Don't know what's happened to those rockets since Rob killed himself for them. They're going to be still lingering and lurking, so it's something they have to be aware of. More importantly, they give up power weapon control, but more importantly, they actually give away a point as well by doing so. Hard scope from Kratos on the opposing snipe tower. Keep an eye on that timer for OS to see what kind of can opening scenario it could be. The random assassination from nowhere, just...
Those are game changers, but they're also expected once you have that full slowdown in pit, where both teams get to just totally sell down on their side. You expect them to start to be in nerdy spots. You don't expect it just to be in like the most typical area of green, hallway, top turret. They're going to have some other angle that they're prepared to hide from and then push in from.
Rob was in a rough spot and a rough set of circumstances, but it seems to have kind of gone his way for now as his teammates were there for the support. Still keeping them at arm's length, though. That's the problem. Now, all of a sudden, Lux Game and only need 3 more kills to round this one off, so Antimatter have to do all the work unless Lux decides they want to give them free kills again and make it interesting. There's possibilities here. Towards the side of sword base, I don't know where this other sniper rifle. Richie, is there a sniper rifle on the opposing side? Do we know?
Has to be. I mean, the
yes,
710
there is. There
mark.
we go.
There it is. Yeah, but that 710 mark, they, I believe it's 2 snipers apiece for each team.
Oh, there is.
It's Name and Rob has snipers. Denoxide and Kratos both have snipers. So 4 snipers on the map, and all the other players on the map essentially just need to watch backs and trust their power weapons.
4 snipers in play. Name goes down, his teammate comes up, gets hit in the back of the head.
Back.
And that's the second time that's actually happened, but this time he had his number written. Unfortunately, Filthy G's down on runway. 2 people will collapse on him. Seal the deal. Rather unfortunate getting caught off guard there. Maybe pushed a little bit too zealous. There were multiple different angles that could have gone rather than going runway.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough to know how to fully break those steps. Like, runway seems like the ideal flank at some points when you can get on top of a turret, but when it comes to the standoff situation, you really need to be able to overwhelm with powerful positions. You're not going to slip someone by or sneak someone by in those cases. Once the game's slowed down enough, people are going to be able to watch and be aware of all those angles. So at some point, it's get that pick and then try to overwhelm up high.
So Spectre with the carry, 18 and 10. Most kills, least deaths. Fair play to the lad. I mean, we've seen him do some weird, wonderful, and wacky stuff in the past, especially throughout Halo 5. He really made a mark on himself there and showed a lot of people what he was worth. To see him doing things like that in different games, always good to see.
Absolutely.
Especially when you come off the back of a break as well. I know that he kind of disconnected himself from Halo for a little bit. I've seen some of his tweets. I don't know if he's been doing school or some, other bits and bats with life and things. Not entirely sure, so I don't want to comment on it, but I know that he's definitely had a little bit of a break from Halo and then decided, okay, well, we'll compete at this one, so why the hell not? If Infinite's around the corner, he's the kind of player that came up with Halo 5, and I don't want to start saying as if I know anything about Infinite because I simply don't. But if we're thinking it's not going to be the old classic standardized thing, because we are in 2020 and there's other things that are going to happen, advanced mobility, sprint, whatever happens, this new age of player, the new ones that kind of came through Halo 5, I think Infinite's going to be an absolutely beautiful place for them to flourish, to get back into the swing of things, and also for other people to have an entry point into the Halo franchise.
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, if Spectre was able to be such a strong player in the years of Halo 5, I'm sure he's going to be able to adapt to when it comes to Infinite. Obviously, also adapting here to Halo Reach just fine. So there's a lot of skills especially shots that translate from Halo game to Halo game, and that's just those small little differences between the games that really separate the very, very top players from the rest.
Cream of the crop, tip of the top. That's kind of the name of the game when we look towards these last few games of today, moving into Championship Sunday. If you want to be walking away with a check for the full grand prize and also the trophy as well. Going to keep battling through the elimination bracket and stay in this one. Ed initially the first one to drop. Suspector, but Rockets, Sniper Rifle, almost going the way of Lux Gaming. Shut down straight, sick, caught off guard from multiple angles, rather unfortunately. So its name will pick up the sniper and be able to put it in a better position for now.
Yeah, blue base though. I mean, this is not the base you'd like to be at, but it is better than running over towards red base, potentially dying and giving the opposing team the sniper rifle. So now this does put Lux in a tricky position where Lux has to decide, do they just hold red and try to let Antimatter scrap up some time, or do they try to flank over and get this sniper out of its named hand?
Controlled.
It's one thing we've seen about this map so far. It's a map that can be stolen from right under your nose. We've seen it twice now, and the game earlier on, like where one team just picks up 50 seconds and can just win it with 2 seconds to go left in the game. I suppose that's the beauty of the King of the Hill, right? You can get those wild, weird and wonderful runs where you just lock down a certain amount of time and all of a sudden the game's completely turned on its head.
Yep. You can frequently see those sort of comebacks in objective games versus Slayers. There's just no room for error. You can make a perfect push and one of your players gets dropped. You always have that ticking against you. Whereas objective, yeah, you can have some players die, but you can still be scrapping up the objective and do a rally of capping 5 flags in a row, even though the team has 4 flags, and that's one of the beauties of these OBJ games.
Completely on a tangent here. I'll tell you what I have missed, and it is nice to see again. The kind of old-style voiceover for the medals. The double kill, triple kill. Like, I wasn't a big fan in Halo 5, but when you're going back to playing Halo 2, Halo 3, and even Halo Reach, the old-school announcer. If anyone from 343 is listening out there, please bring back the old-school medal flashes and the old-school announcer. I've missed it.
I'm just wondering how badass it'd be if the voice actor was like your dad or something, and then, you know, just random choice tells you to do, like, go to bed. You're just like, oh man, that sounds awesome. I guess I will, just because your voice is like that.
How are you not a father when you're dropping jokes like this?
It's not a joke. I truly would love for that to happen.
It's 12:30 day. It's bedtime. Father, I'm playing Halo.
You are grounded. Be so absolutely intimidating.
Oh, we've cast too many games today. That's the problem.
Hey, man.
It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. Speaking of hot minutes, there's 12 of them left in this game, 27-11. So the scrappy time from the initial hill was there, but now we move over to the red base side. Sniper is here, and what a better man to have it. Denoxide scoping down underneath from basement. Personally, well, it depends what the rest of the setup is, but I would say I'd like to see him in window looking overview. But it depends what the rest of his teammates, if they're controlling that, then why not look down under green? Why not keep this locked down? Misses the bullets, but at least has the information where the players are. If he seals this one from green, then it's job done. Assist comes through. He's done his job. If he actually does a bit of work onto Rob, which he does, that's security. That's a beautiful little bodyguard
partially
system.
Secured, though. However, 2 members of Lux are also spawning over at blue base, so Denoxide cannot relax fully. You see him just looking all around red base in case there are other spawners here on Closet or towards the diamond.
Checking Closet for now and dipping down low. Sniper back in the hill. We keep seeing this a fair amount, and maybe it's just because you can kill them at close range once they come around that corner. I suppose that's the beauty of being able to no-scope somebody. They come flying around that corner, you are close and you are ready to receive them. You can just try and slam them in the body and even beat them down or hit them in the head, whatever. So I kind of understand the method to the madness, why you would keep a sniper in there. Treat it like a shotgun, you know, with a very smaller reticle. Beautiful nade, though, puts it down. 2 players just stand on a landmine. Third one dies in his line of sight. So without even looking, we know that that's 3 dead and looking for the final man. The bullet tracer just comes flying past. He sees the trail. Now the information as to where they are is open on the rest of the blue team. He can feed this back from his position to his teammates. They can clear it up just like that. transferring kills, and beautiful observing from Richie just to follow this one through. To be able to put those shots on there, move over to Dan, he can just clean up. That's nice Halo. That's what you want to see. That's teamwork.
And Straight, Sick, and Nox are both aware that players could still be spawning over near blue. I mean, you're not seeing as much pressure coming from red at the moment. They had closet side lockdown. They're just still a bit uncertain of where these players could for sure spawn. So you just see the awareness of how they move around the map and taking into account the worst case scenario of what could happen with the spawns for the Antimatter gaming squad.
They're getting desperate for time. There's been multiple occasions now, maybe even 3, where we've hopped on board with a red team's POV, and there's been 2 players in the hill. You don't need 2 players in there. If someone's going to die, you're just going to wait on them, unfortunately.
Well, the reason you'll see sometimes teams putting in 2 players into some of those seemingly very vulnerable hills is there's really no better angle to help support in some cases. Like, for example, someone peek shotting from top of red or from one of the diamonds of red. You don't really have much of an angle unless you are somehow already flanking all the way towards back of red. And in the case where you can just put 2 people in the hill at the same time, rather than just swapping in and out, they aren't as scared about grenades in that scenario. They're more concerned about getting shot down. So they're just trying to say, all right, we're going to 2-on-1 you if you just poke out one person to shoot here, and you're going to get melted. So that's why you'll sometimes see these teams put 2 players there, but you know, it's not always the norm. Most times you want to see players spread out a little bit more, but you can see that from time to time in those scrappy hills.
It's fair assessment, and you kind of understand it, and you can see why it would, the scenario would approach you if you are just going to get pushed from either side of that one. Especially in a larger size hill as well. I don't think it's fair to, I think it's very fair to say that it's quite a decent size up there compared to some of these smaller ones.
And to be clear, it's also a move you do when you have the numbers advantage. If you're doing that when it's like even on the board where you're putting half your team up in the hill, you're just asking to be punished and for your team to go down a couple members. However, if your team already got 1 or 2 kills, you know their #1 threat. You know what they're going for. They're going to try to stop your objective. So why not put someone right next to your objective and protect it fully? Your only threat is getting naded.
Time keeps on ticking, and this one is looking all but done. Only 29 points on the board to Lux Gaming's 170.
Now in this hill, I don't know why you want to put 2 in. That one I cannot defend as to why to put 2 in this hill.
Well, maybe that's the whole point of it, because with 2 you can defend it. You can just play back and forth, as you kind of touched on earlier on. It allows him to disconnect from that. If one of them dies, there's always someone in there, right? So I kind of understand it.
Those side hills, the hill person should be one of the last people to die because of how nested it is on the side of blue base. They have to go through other defensive lines, ideally, as they're pushing through top gold or top green. So, in fact, rather than having 2 people hiding in towards the hillside, you'd rather have that second person that is in the hill going on out, taking up another angle, helping double team one of those threatening areas.
So basically what you're saying is we're just making excuses for 2 players in there. Okay, I'm okay with it, Dave. We'll let it slide for now. Nades go down, players come up, 2 individuals in front of him, both going to be tanked up with that grenade. In fact, doesn't find the second one, his teammate does indeed. So at least the assist was there, and at least they got the job done onto those individuals. He has been chased from down low, finds a random sniper from absolutely nowhere. One of his teammates must have dropped that earlier on to give him the info, unless he just walked over it. Players coming out of the closet, they have to be careful here because blue are contesting this top hill. Nade launches up. Which way are you going to go? Are you going to completely go in? That nade's down. The damage is done. The assist is there as well. If they get the frags here, they could potentially pick up a bit more hill time.
But it does not look good here for this Antimatter gaming squad. You can start to see the defeat in their play style and potentially in their eyes if you turn around and look at them on the stage at the moment. It's just so tough. I mean, you're down by the significant margin. Just things are not going your way. You see them fighting individual fight by individual fight. You start to see this insurmountable lead where you're saying, how do we come up with 2.5 minutes of uncontested time just to tie the game?
30 seconds to win.
This could be all she wrote for their competition here within the bracket. Remember, this is a loser round 4 once you are down, so excuse me, elimination round 4 when you are in that elim bracket. There's no more lives left. You've done your pool run, you've done your group run. You stay up in winners if you keep on winning, but unfortunately you drop down if you don't, and then you get 1 life left, and this is it, and it looks like it's all on the line. Rob doing what he can, trying to scrape and scrap together as much hill time as possible with his teammates. But that is a huge, huge deficit to make up. And for the opposing Lux Gaming red team, they don't have long to go. They might not even let the time tick down. They get all the way to 250, call this one a GG. 4 players dead, so you can at least get 10 seconds out of this if you set up for it, which they are.
Yep, I mean, they're going to scrap more than 10 seconds out of the side setup. This could be the start of some miraculous comeback, but as we've seen the game going thus far, you can expect Lux to have multiple opportunities to try to break this setup as they push on over towards red, and one of them's going to be successful. Each time they go through, they're going to push a little harder, they're going to get a kill, they're going to find a little way to break in, to get behind over at red base. So I expect Lux to give up some points here, but I don't expect Lux to give up 120 points here.
Ill control.
Stranger things have happened, and we can hold hope. But it's looking difficult now in dire straits. They've broken the stranglehold they had on this. Come from the backlines as well outside of the closet. They run rampant, and they destroy the setup that we saw Antimatter Gaming have. We run down this clock, we run down this hill time, and that is going to be all she wrote for Antimatter Gaming. Lux, they stay in the bracket. They continue their assault potentially to Championship Sunday. There is still a way to get back to the Grand Finals, but it's going to be paved with difficulty. Many a team stand in their way, and they've got a ton of work to do ahead of them, Dave.
Yes, they do. I mean, this is just the start. Antimatter put up a great fight, but a lot of these teams that they're going to be facing later in the bracket, potentially tomorrow, are going to be having their games much more buttoned up.
But you know what? I'll always say this, regardless of you going home or not. I respect any team that turns up to these open events. It's what makes Halo. It's what makes our community. We need these. Even the teams that, you know, with all due respect, know that they're going to be not making it to that championship thing. I mean, you don't know unless you don't try, right? It's all about practice. It's all about coming here, getting the confidence, getting the experience. Most important, getting LAN experience is crucial and vital in these environments. And what a better place for someone like this to actually make your appearance and try and put a stamp on you